the last time I took a magic carpet to work. All right, howdy guys. Thank you for joining me on this episode here on Potter Talk. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the top 5 backstabbing characters in Harry Potter. So let's get into the list. Number 5 is Marietta Edgecombe. So for those of you who've only seen the movies, move along, read the books. In Order of the Phoenix, Cho Chang's best friend, Marietta Edgecombe, it's not explicitly clear that she's a Ravenclaw, but by association, she is a Ravenclaw. Let's just call it what it is. Basically, this is Marietta selling out Cho and the entire DA to Umbridge. And we know Umbridge used Veritaserum to interrogate the students to figure out what could be going on behind her back. And that coupled with, her mom being a ministry employee, so having some allegiance there to the ministry and, wanting to keep the family name good, keep that reputation up, that's got to be taken into account with that. But I think the real issue that makes Marietta Edgecombe really betray her friend and her friend's friends, because she's not friends with Harry, she really just tolerates him being around Cho, and that's really the real issue that she has with the whole thing. She's jealous of Harry, and him getting closer to Cho, her best friend. So I'd really chalk it up to teenage hormonal, just carelessness and jealousy, really. I mean, you don't have the best judgment when you're blinded by, what's the word I'm looking for? Jealousy, but I don't know. I've been in a position where I've faced losing my best friend, and you'll do certain things to try and continue and maintain that relationship, but I don't think I would sell out the people that were going to be replacing me as my best friend's friend, or boyfriend in that case for Marietta. But for all you Ravenclaws that say you don't get enough representation in the books or enough characters, well, there you go, Marietta Edgecombe, making you Ravenclaws proud. Now, number 4, I would have to put, I thought about this really in depth with the order that I'm ranking them. 5th, the least offensive, to number 1, the most offensive, Backstabber. I really would put Percy Weasley at number 4, and what is that? Oh, getting random text messages. I put Percy Weasley at number 4 when he basically chose the ministry over his own family, really threw himself head over heels with his job. Senior Undersecretary, what am I saying? That's Umbridge's job title, Senior Undersecretary to the Minister. He first worked under Mr. Crouch, of course, in Goblet of Fire, and then went on to become the Junior Minister of Magic, I believe assistant. That might not have been in his official title, but anyway, with Fudge denying that he who must not be named is back with his own body, and not believing Harry and Dumbledore and their side of things, he really drew the line in the sand and chose his side, and that's nearly unforgivable thing to do. It's one of the worst human traits, in my opinion, in my eyes, is betraying your family and really turning your back on them. That's one of the most inhumane things one can do to another person, in my opinion. But he eventually comes around, like all you soul movie watchers don't know, don't get to experience. In Deathly Hallows, the book, he comes around, basically admits he was wrong. I was wrong, and basically makes up with the Weasley family, and that's a really heartwarming moment, and you're just like, yes, like such a long time in the coming. You love to see the Weasleys as a whole family, and I'm so glad that Percy was able to make up with the entire family before Fred died in the Battle of Hogwarts. That really needed to happen. Percy making up to his family, not Fred dying. So number 4, number 3, third person. Now, this is a tough one. I'd have to put Regulus Arcturus Black, R.A.B. at number 3. Now, grew up as a pureblood in the Black family, very prestigious. Go to Slytherin house, get sorted into Slytherin like you're supposed to. You know, you make your family proud, and captain on the Quidditch team, or at least the Seeker, and does everything the right way in his family's eyes. Goes to Hogwarts and joins up with the Death Eaters and you know whose followers, you know. Very supportive from his parents, at least. Not his whole family, obviously Sirius, but the backstabbing part comes in when he realizes how deep he's got himself into. You know, he really doesn't want to continue down this path, and ultimately risks his life and, you know, sacrifices himself basically to get back at the Dark Lord, to weaken his former master that he no longer wants to serve, who he abandons, and, you know, he steals the real Horcrux, the locket, from the cave, and switches it with the false one that Harry and Dumbledore eventually retreat so many years later, and, you know, he dies in the cave while Creature goes back with the story and the knowledge of what he did, and that betrayal against the Dark Lord, his former master. One, I don't know if Voldemort ever finds out about that, because Harry gets the note when he opens up the fake Horcrux. So unless Voldemort saw it when he was in Harry's mind, looking at his memories, I don't think he would ever know that R.A.B. was responsible for getting that Horcrux out of his secure place with enchantments and magical concealments in the cave. So R.A.B. number 3 definitely took some guts to do that and basically go the opposite direction that your whole life was dedicated to. So yeah, that was a big one, to betray his master like that. Now, number 2, 1 and 2 is really a toss-up. I mean, I could go either way with these last 2, but I guess number 2 would have to be that's good. Okay, number 2 would have to be oh, I can't even get it out. Peter Pettigrew. I know that seems to be the obvious number 1 choice. Some of you might be surprised that he isn't number 1, or, you know, like, oh, who could, you know, who was worse than him? Who betrayed someone far graver than Peter Pettigrew? Well, you'll just have to wait to hear number 1 and leave a comment if you agree or disagree with me. But Peter Pettigrew, number 2 backstabber in the Harry Potter series, and we know he was the secret keeper for James and Lily Potter, and he gave up the location as their secret keeper to the Dark Lord to get any bit of glory and security and just praise from the Dark Lord. And ultimately, that's a pretty irredeemable quality of him. I don't know any real fans of Peter Pettigrew. You talk about the Marauders and, oh yeah, they're a cool group, but that's when he was at Hogwarts and going along with the bullying of Snape and all their hijinks that they got up with, but with Wormtail and everything he did after Hogwarts, faking his death, framing Sirius, who took the fall and spent 13 years in Azkaban as a result, an innocent man, condemning him to that fate. It's the definition of cowardice, and in the end, he got what he deserved with the metallic hand that the Dark Lord gave him. He got his justice in the end, but selling out your friends like that for any bit of security or hope to not get killed or be on the winning side, if you will, because he thought that, Voldemort was taking over everyone and everywhere. It was only a matter of time before he ruled everything, and he didn't believe in the cause that Dumbledore and the original Order of the Phoenix stood for. So turning his back on his friends and the cause, and ultimately leading to their deaths, even though he wasn't the one who cast the killing curse. It was all because of him. So Pettigrew at number 2, that leaves Severus Snape as the number 1 backstabber in the Harry Potter series. Now, yes, he is a good guy, and I can make arguments for other people on the top 5 list that can be considered good guys, like Percy Weasley and even Regulus. You can make an argument that he was ultimately good by his actions, but Severus Snape has to take the number 1 spot as the number 1 backstabber in Harry Potter. Yes, he betrayed his Death Eaters when he turned spy for Dumbledore right before Lord Voldemort's downfall, while still maintaining the title and presence and appearance of a Death Eater, but turned spy for Dumbledore, joined their side, and got a job, was able to stay close to Dumbledore and be involved with everything that he was planning and going through after Voldemort's downfall, with raising Harry, protecting him throughout all the Hogwarts years, and he was able to switch back to the dark side once things started to shift towards the Death Eaters and Voldemort's way when he was coming to power a second time for things leading up to the second Wizarding War. Of course, he premeditated the murder of Dumbledore, but was able to pass that over. Voldemort, with his skill of occlumency, with blocking one's mind to prevent penetration, and any skilled legilimens, I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, the mind reading skill that Voldemort had that he was able to use on anyone, but Snape was able to conceal his emotions and really keep that facade that was so necessary to remain the secret spy on the dark side. So he was able to spin his tale, please Voldemort, as he well explains in Spinner's End, Bellatrix, who really doubted and questioned his true intentions and motivations, which he also appeases her, which is pretty funny how wound up and frustrated she gets that basically Snape was able to come back with open arms from Voldemort, even though he was by Dumbledore's side for so many years after the Dark Lord disappeared. But ultimately, he gave Harry the memory, the special memory of him, and basically explaining everything that we didn't know throughout the entire series to Harry, with his childhood, protecting him, the plan that him and Dumbledore had, and really leading to the flaw in the plan that, Harry survived the killing curse a second time in the Dark Forest and allowed him to come back because he had that knowledge and basically was able to complete the last part of Dumbledore's plan, giving that little bit of information to Harry when he needed to. And that's a really crucial part of everything being able to happen. Good triumphing over evil, Harry defeating the Dark Lord, and without Severus Snape's true bravery, the furthest thing from cowardice that, we see in the Harry Potter books. Snape definitely fits the bill, and it's pretty funny when Harry's calling Snape a coward when they're leaving the lightning-struck tower and trying to leave the grounds after he murdered Dumbledore. He's like, "Fight back, you coward, fight back." And he's like, "Don't call me a coward." And once you've gone through the series, you know the real Snape and the real backstory of everything he's been through. And I don't blame him for getting really angry and offended at Harry calling him that, because he's like, "You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I'm doing. This is part of the plan." But Snape playing both sides and fooling the Dark Lord is the number one. Backstabbing character and ultimate trick and betrayal that is in the Harry Potter books. So that's my top 5. Number 5, Marietta Edgecombe. Number 4 was Percy Weasley. Number 3 was Regulus Arcturus Black, R.A.B. Number 2 was Peter Pettigrew, aka Wormtail. And number 1, Severus Snape, Professor Snape, Harry. So that's my top 5 backstabbing characters in Harry Potter. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Please give this video a like. Thank you so much for the success of my last video, my wand collection video, nearing 70 views as of this point. I think it's around 68 views total. That is insane for me. Thank you so much. Like I said, I release 1 video a month, so this is the first one of this year, and I hope you look forward to my video next month. Cheers.